So I actually sat down and listened to the Osmonds on purpose. I want to tell you about that because something kind of odd happened, plus opening the mail and tons more. But let's kick things off with Record of the Week. So this week's Record of the Week is Last Chance to Dance by CJ Ramone. So you guys probably know CJ Ramone. He's otherwise known as Christopher Joseph Ward. He played bass in the Ramones from 1989 until 1996. He was a former Marine, and he replaced Dee Dee Ramone, obviously, in the Ramones. He's credited for bringing youthful energy back to the band and sort of being a bridge between Joey and Johnny, who infamously did not get along. CJ flies under the radar nowadays, but that's too bad because he has actually put out some really, really good solo stuff. I kind of struggled with which album to show you for Record of the Week. It was between Last Chance to Dance and American Beauty. Ultimately, I picked Last Chance to Dance because it's a little more raw, but both those albums are really good. Last Chance to Dance was released in 2014, and man, there are just some killer tracks on here. You have Understand Me, One More Chance, Carry Me Away, Long Way to Go, and probably my favorite, which is Mr. Kalashnikov. I mean, so many great tracks, and this is really in the vein of classic Ramones, right? Like really short, catchy songs that just stick in your head. I mean, it's rock, it's punk rock, and as I said, it's really in the tradition of the Ramones. So if you dig that sort of stuff, I highly recommend you check out CJ Ramone, and a good place to start is with his 2014 album, Last Chance to Dance. All right, before I get to the mail, two things I quickly want to say. I just finished watching the Triumph documentary on Triumph, the band. It was called Rock and Roll Machine, and it was produced by Banger Films. And Banger Films does a whole bunch of these rock documentaries. I gotta tell you, this is one of the best rock documentaries I've seen in a long time. And I'm not afraid to admit, I was actually choking up towards the end there a bit. Anyway, if you have the opportunity to watch this, you really gotta set aside an hour and a half to watch this because it really is very good. In Canada, it's available for streaming on Crave, which is obviously a streaming service and a premium cable channel. I'm not sure if it's available elsewhere yet, but from what I've read, it will be released worldwide. But do check it out, Triumph Rock and Roll Machine. The other quick side note I wanted to mention is that for some reason, I've been listening to a lot of Huey Lewis and the News lately. This is one of those artists I kind of wrote off back in the day, but man, Huey has some really good stuff. Anyway, enough of the blabbering. Let's open the mail. All right, this package came from Mary, and I pre-opened it, and I'll show you in a second, but let's read Mary's letter first. She says, "Hi Frank, enclosed is an album I thought you'll enjoy. At the very least, it should surprise you in places," and that it did. Stay tuned. Please listen to it and tell us what you think in a video. Mary, your wish is my command. I promise you won't throw up. Signed, Mary M. P.S. FYI, they wrote all the songs and played all the instruments except for the horns and strings. Enjoy. So, this is what Mary sent and what Mary was talking about. This is the Osmonds with their album Crazy Horses, which was released in 1972. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Osmonds, but if you're not, they were that squeaky clean band of siblings from Utah. So I have to admit, this is my first time actually sitting down and purposefully concentrating on an Osmonds album in its entirety. My reaction is a bit surprising. I actually like this. It's not what I expected anyway. So let me tell you about some of the tracks on here, and I did make some notes. The opening cut is called Hold Her Tight, and this got me from the get-go. Surprisingly, the riff to this song is not dissimilar to Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song, which actually kind of blew my mind. It's obviously a nod in some respects to the Immigrant Song, but it's also got a horn section. I really found myself cranking that one. Second track, Utah, that wasn't bad. Straight up rock and roll. The lyrical content wasn't really my cup of tea. They didn't really resonate with me, but I've never been to Utah. Maybe if I had been to Utah, maybe I would appreciate it more. The third song, Girl, had a fun bass line. The middle part I thought almost had a Beatles come together kind of vibe, which was cool. We All Fall Down, that was another one of my favorite tracks on here. It's a bit of a mid-tempo rocker. Reminds me a bit of early Kiss, like the first 3 albums, but with horns. Maybe it's more similar to the Wicked Lester demos, if you ever heard of those. Wicked Lester was Paul and Gene's band before Kiss. Life is Hard with Goodbyes. I mean, that kind of had sappy lyrics, but a bit of a Led Zeppelin riff. I mean, I could dissect all these songs, but I won't. But I definitely heard elements of like early Kiss, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles in here, and that really surprised me. And I'm surprised to say I dug the Osmonds, at least this album. I haven't heard any other Osmonds albums, so I was pleasantly surprised. I was asking myself, so does this mean I am now an Osmonds fan? I'm not sure if I'd go so far as to say that, but based on this record, I certainly have a new respect and a new understanding for these guys, for this band of siblings, and I may have to check out more of their albums. Thank you, Mary, for introducing me to the world of the Osmonds. Dear 33ers, what do you think of this band? Let me know in the comments below.
Channel 33 RPM.
All right, a couple more things I want to show you. These 2 CDs actually came in the mail late last year, and I've been living with them for a while, and I gotta tell you, I am really digging them. This is a band called New Disaster, and again, these guys are from Austin, Texas. We've talked about several bands from Austin, Texas lately, so there must be some really good scene going on down there. So, New Disaster, this is punk, it's rock and roll, it's in your face, like it's really in your face. And it is really good. This band includes guitarist, vocalist Natcha Taylor, who is also in the Texas punk band Nowhere Bound. We've talked about those guys before. And these 2 albums, from what I can tell, are available on compact disc only. But of course, they are also on the streaming services. So I made some notes here just as I was listening to these albums. This is the first one, Last Night Rites. I like the title. I like the artwork. This was released in 2006. It is, or was, their debut. And interestingly, this album was produced by Andy Johns. And any music fan is going to know who Andy Johns was. He produced or co-produced a whole bunch of stuff. He did Van Halen's For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. He engineered a bunch of Led Zeppelin albums, including 2, 3, 4, Houses of the Holy, and Physical Graffiti. He engineered the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street, Goat's Head Soup. I mean, this guy has tons of credibility, and he makes his album sound really, really good. Second album from New Disaster is this one from 2009 called Automatic. Automatic. I love that name, Automatic. As I said, I'm digging both of these. How else can I describe these compact discs? It sounds like Friday night at your favorite rock club after a few beers, if you know what I mean. This is the perfect soundtrack for your Friday night at your favorite rock club when you're just drinking a few beers. The CDs are cheap. I saw these for $10 each on the Drunken Ship Records website. Of course, you can check them out on your favorite streaming service as well. And as I said, these are just great. They're like, if you like being punched in the face by your music, New Disaster is the band for you. Good stuff. All right, that is my Friday update. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you dug this episode, I would appreciate a quick thumbs up. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll be back again on Sunday. Until then, keep on spinning.